Alright, here goes a stab at an instructional video on how to model 3D in AutoCAD. I'm going to start with my workflow, which includes setting up a new new job directory. Within that directory, I like to keep two folders. Input, which is anything from the client, information I've found online, aerial images, Google Street Views, etc. You can see a few files in here, along with the architect's CAD file. In the output, it's empty now. That's where the finished renderings and anything I produce goes. In the root directory is where I keep all of my drawing files. I have another directory open over here, which is my template job. And I have more files than I need, so I'm going to select just the ones I need to create a 3D model in AutoCAD, which is a plan file, an elevation file, and a 3D file. I'm going to copy these to my project file, and I like to give everything a job number. It's important to have these files in the same directory because we're going to be using X references, and they just play better together if they're in the same directory. So I've renamed my three files with my specific job number. Whoops. Now I'm just doing weird things here. 18018. So now my three files are ready to go. In a plant, these two files are generally all 2D. This file is where I actually build my 3D model. So what I'm going to do first is open up the architect's drawings. I'm using AutoCAD version 16. Any version from 14 to 18 is fine. I tend to use to dumb it down to look like it did 10 years ago because that's what I'm used to. Sorry, I had to pause that. I had a brief distraction. This is a typical architect's set of plans you'll get with a bunch of plan files and a bunch of elevations. This architect's files I know to be really good about having things line up from plan to elevation, and that's very important in modeling in 3D. The minute you have things being an 1/8 inch off from plan to elevation, life gets 10 times harder. So what I'm going to do in this file is I'm going to turn off things I don't want to see. So I'll go in here and turn off the dimension layer, the note layer. I probably don't want, I'm going to leave his shaded layer on for now. Out of this file, I'm going to set up my first file, which is the plan file. So I want to open up my plan file, which is completely blank and empty. I'm going to go back over to the architect's file, and I'm going to pull his first floor plan out. I generally always use the first floor. I copy it with the base point of an easy to find point. In this case, I'm going to use the back left corner of the house itself, not the deck. I want to use clean lines that I can find on the elevation. So I'm going to copy this whole plan with the base point, remove whatever this extra thing is, switch over to my plan file, and I'm going to paste this as a block. I got to pan around to get the video to work right. And then I'm going to type in 00. Where'd it go? I don't know. Zoom extends. There it is. If I draw a line from 00, it's coming from that corner. Great. And the thing's a block, which for now is fine. We can always explode it. But for now, I'll just leave it as is. For modeling the house itself in 3D, this is all you have to do in the plan file initially. I'm not going to worry about land or curbs or driveways or grass right now. So I'm going to close this drawing because I should never need to open it again for this. Close. If I can type right. Yes, I want to save it. The next file I want to set up is my elevation file. Basically, I'm just putting all of these things into a standard format. I do it at the same time. It makes things go quicker. In this plan file, I want to xref in that plan file I just made, which is here. I want to bring it in at a scale of 1, the full path, could be relative. That's why I keep them in the same directory. If you copy the directory or rename it, they'll find each other. Insertion point is 0, 0, attachment, done, overlay. So his 0, 0 came in here. I'm actually going to move his plan up. This is going to line up with the front elevation. I want to copy it 3 times for the right side, the left side, and the rear. I'm going to rotate these with my ortho on so I get the right side facing down, the left side facing down, and then 180 degrees so the back is facing down. Space them visually how I want to see them. Great. These 2 lines denote 2 things. These are where my elevations are going to go. This top line, I have it on a locked layer called A thin floor. The bottom line, I copy down an arbitrary distance. I'll get to that later. But all you need to know now is this is the first floor line. Now I'm going to grab the architect's elevations. He's got these handy-dandy little markers to denote his first floor line. This is the basement level or whatever. So I'm actually going to grab all 4 elevations at the same time based on this left side of the house and the first floor, based on that intersection. There's all 4 elevations. They're in the memory now. And I'm going to paste them at the intersection of my first floor line and the left side of the house. So now they're in here. Now I want to clean these elevations up, or actually line them up to my elevations. So what I'm going to do is draw a series of guidelines, of X lines. I'm going to draw one and copy it to the 2 sides of the major walls on all 4 elevations. This is the back of the house, so I'll start here. I'll move the back, which is over here. I'm going to find an intersection of the wall and the first floor line and move it perpendicular to there. His right side is almost in the right spot, so I'm going to move it. Now again, I don't want to pick the trim. This is shown projecting. I want to pick the wall and move it perpendicular to my guide. Then I want to pick the left side and do the same thing. I'm going to pick a spot on this wall and move it perpendicular to here. Now one of the things I like to do is I only work on layer 0, and I like that to be the only white layer. So I'm going to look at what layer the architect's drawing. First of all, I'm going to send my X lines to the back with the drawer command, and I'm going to select one of the architect's lines so I can see up here it's on the wall layer. So I'm going to change that layer to a different color, 65 wall. Visually that makes it easier for me to see. I'm going to do the same thing with the pushing, the hatching. I'm going to set my layer current, layer color 126. It's a little lower profile. And then I actually want to get rid of these solid hatches, which are, if I isolate this layer, I can probably pretty quickly erase them that way. I can also select similar, which gave me everything on the layer, so I can sit and erase all these things. I'm going to pause while I do that. Okay, I've erased all those solid hatches. They just sort of get in the way. The one other thing, it's just my own personal preference, I like to have everything else on like a yellow color. So this layer, color, yellow, and then OBL is his layer. So, ooh, I don't like that. I'm going to go back to red. Okay. This elevation file is almost set up. What we need to do is we want to draw the 3D of the building well below the ground plane. In case you have grades that go up and down, it doesn't hurt to draw the thing a few feet below that line. So what I'm going to do is unlock my finished floor layer, erase the lower one, and copy the upper one down. As I look at my bottom display, I'm going to go an even number just because that's what you do. I'm going to say 14 feet. And then I'm going to lock that layer again. Alright, the last step in this file, the last major step, is we want to draw the house all the way down to this lower line, this lower finished floor line that I defined. So and again, I've sent all my X lines to the back, so I can see that my plan X lines are lining up to my elevation X lines. It's good to just check those things. Sometimes you get a bad set of drawings and you may as well redraw or go in there and fix them all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to extend all the wall lines all the way down here because I'm going to model that far. I don't want to extend the stone, which is probably projecting 2 inches. I don't want to extend the trim line. I just want the simple walls of the house. So I look here at the back of the house. There's 2 wall lines. I want to make sure both of those, which is this one. Let's use this. There we go. That extended it down. And this line extend down there. I want to do that on all 4 sides. That side of the house, I want to go ahead and grab these extra projections. I might need them later. That column's going to go all the way down. Actually, that probably, nope, it sits on top of that, so I'll trim it back up. I'm going to extend down this wall line. Just your major walls here, and I happen to know that there's a wall jog behind this column, so I'm going to use this up here, just like the plan has the wall jogging. And finally the right side. And we're essentially done this step in this file right now. I'm going to move my plans a little higher so they're out of the way. I'm going to erase a few things that I don't really want. Just the simpler the better. The more lines you have in 3D, the harder it is to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file now. And I'm going to open my 3D file. Which again, it looks blank right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reference in that simple floor plan file I made. This is going to be the basis of where I draw my 3D model. I don't ever really want to move that. I want the block itself on layer 0 so that it's just, trust me. I'm going to draw a line from 0, 0 just to verify. I'm using that back left corner. Great. Now what I want to do is come in and set the elevations up so I can push and pull and extrude to create the 3D model from the elevations. So I'm going to start with the front elevation. Go back into this file. I'm going to copy it with a base point. And again, I want to use, say, the left side and that first floor line. Always that first floor line. I'm going to grab everything in that elevation. I'm back in my 3D file. Now, I've got this toolbar up here is important. These views not only switch your view to the front, which, again, my drawing is 2D. Oops, there's some sort of object down further in the drawing. I'll go correct that in a minute. But what this also did was tilt my UYZ axis or UVW axis. Well, I'm not sure what they call it, but it changes my plane so I'm drawing on the front of the house, so to speak. But you can't see anything except a bunch of lines combined together. I'm going to go here and look at my isometric view. Now, you look at this UCS, it's working up in 3D space. So I'm going to go ahead and paste as a block. And again, I've got to like move my mouse around and pan or something to get the video to work. I'm going to paste that block at that corner wall. Now, this is weird, but I want the front of the house behind the house. Same thing for the 3 other sides. I want to close the architect's original file. I don't want to save it because I don't want to mess it up. I'm going to grab the left side of the house. Again, that front wall and the first floor line. Grab that. Now I want to use my view cube here, my cubes, to get to the right side, which you can see there's my front elevation, there's my plan. And then I'm going to use my isometrics to get to the view where I can tell what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and paste that as a block and move it. This is the right side of the house. I'm going to move it to the left of the house. Again, same with the left side of the house. I'm going to grab it from the first floor and the back wall. I'm going to look at the left side with my cube, go back to my isometric view, paste this side of the house in. And I'm going